Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. We're here with special guest with us. Joining us is Aaron Mate from The Nation magazine. Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Hey, Jimmy.
And you made a great observation. You read Andrew McCabe. Now, if you don't know who Andrew McCabe is, he's the guy who was interviewed on 60 Minutes a week ago by Scott Pelley, and he was the former FBI deputy director. I think he was actually the director for a little while.
Yep.
And Andrew McCabe has written a book about his time working with Trump. And in it, I didn't read the book, right? Because I've explained before, reading is hard and it hurts my head. So I have to pick and choose what I'm going to read. And I'm certainly not going to read Andrew McCabe's book, although I'm glad you did. Because look what you found. Inside Andrew McCabe, the ex-FBI director's book, the guy who's Mr. Resistance against Trump, he writes in his book, that's a little screenshot you took of his book, and here's what it says. He says, and recounting a visit he had with Trump in 2017 inside the Oval Office, he said, quote, "Then the president, Mr. Trump, talked about Venezuela. That's the country we should be going to war with," Trump said. "They have all that oil, and they're right on our back door." That's in 2017. That's before anybody was talking about Venezuela, as far as I can tell. And Trump already was like, so what that sounds like to me, that sounds like mafia stuff. That sounds like Tony Soprano. It's like, hey, look at the right there. Hey, what's all our oil doing underneath your land in Venezuela? Come on. Now
we gotta go over there.
Come on, we're gonna make. How'd you get all our oil? Now listen, we're gonna make an offer, and I think you're gonna like it. Give us your oil. How about that? Is that so? All right.
We either go in there or we do it the old-fashioned way, supporting a legal coup. Don't
Yeah.
make us do it that way. It takes longer.
Yeah. Did you see what happened to Muammar Gaddafi? Yeah. First we take your weapons, then we stick a bayonet up your, and so that's really mafia stuff, right? So that's us. That's the United States. That's the leader of the free world, Donald Trump. And that's the FBI guy putting that in his book to show what a mafia maniac guy that guy is. Right? I'm watching CNN. Yeah, I know. It was an accident. And I'm watching Don Lemon, and he has on, this is the former United States ambassador to Paraguay.
Panama,
thank you. Panama. And listen to, so black is white, up is down, in is out. Watch.
Are you concerned about the tensions between the United States and Venezuela escalating?
I'm enormously concerned. Everybody should be concerned. What we have in Venezuela is not a socialist, is not a communist. We have a good old-fashioned mafioso thug who has systematically abused his people for the last 5-6 years, who has taken the richest country, according to resources, right, the world's largest proven oil reserves, and turned it into the poorest. 9 out of 10 Venezuelans live in poverty. So yes, I am concerned, but I am also heartened, Don. I'm heartened at the fact that the Trump administration is working multilaterally. What Vice President Pence did today in Bogota with the Lima Group was stand with all of these democracies in insisting that the humanitarian aid enter and in committing to the legit.
Up is down, black is white, in is out. There's the former ambassador to Panama telling you that it's Maduro. Maduro, who's the mafia guy. Not Trump, not Pence, not Elliot Abrams, not John Bolton, but Maduro, the guy who was elected and actually has all that oil. And if he's such a dictator, this is how you know this is also, so this guy's a paid liar. He's just dumb. He was hired because he's dumb. If you will ever watch broadcast news, he's William Hurt. That's who Don Lemon is. This guy's not dumb. He's a paid liar. So he's lying to you in several different ways right now. So what do you think when you watch something like this, Aaron? Now, you've been to Venezuela.
I just came back. Look, like what you have in Venezuela, or at least what I saw, is a very polarized country. You have a government that has a strong base of support and has for 20 years, because the Chavista movement from Chavez to now Maduro has won 23 of the last 25 elections, which tells you that they have support. And more than 6 million people voted in the last election last year for Maduro. Now, the opposition, or at least part of the opposition, boycotted it. And you have a lot of people, as I saw, who do not like Maduro. And you even have some supporters of Chavez who've lost faith in Maduro. So you have a complicated, polarized internal situation. But what you don't have is the situation that someone like this guy just painted, where First of all, he's erasing the fact that Venezuela has used its resources in the last 20 years, its oil wealth, the oil wealth that Trump wants to steal, for the benefit of its own people, and it's spent a lot of money on social programs that have cut extreme poverty by huge rates, and have improved drastically literacy, that give people free food programs every single month, as I saw firsthand. And also, you have millions of people participating in democratic ways that we can't imagine here. So you have local councils that I visited where people get together, they voice criticisms of the government, but they also talk about, solutions that they can come up with themselves in these communal councils. And this narrative we get of Maduro as a dictator is erasing all of their voices. And the reason why their voices are erased is because they're from lower classes and they're darker skinned. And those are people like John Feely, whatever his name is, presumably views with contempt. And that's why part of the reason why we're attacking Venezuela is because that's a country where they've tried to include the lower class people in their politics and not just let it be ruled by local and international elites.
Now, Greg Palast says there's a racial divide actually in Venezuela between the whites and the darker skinned people. Did you see any of that?
Definitely. Like, I went to an opposition rally where I didn't count every single face, but it's very apparent that there is that the light-skinned opposition that has dominated Venezuelan politics for decades up until Chavez won in 1998 are very much a strong base of the opposition. It's mostly it's more affluent, the opposition base. Although it's the country again has grown more polarized, so there are some lower class people that have become disenchanted with the government. But yes, the racial and class divide is you have to see it really for yourself to get it. But I definitely saw it, and going into the barrios and the lower income communities, definitely you sense just how much race is a thing here. And that's why over the years opposition media has been opposition controlled media, which is dominates the Venezuelan media system. You hear openly racist things like calling Maduro a gorilla. And Chavez was also subjected to all kinds of racial ad hominems.
Really?
Oh yeah. But of course, we don't hear about that. Because it paints the opposition in a bad light. It shows a lot of them to be racist, but also because it undercuts this theory or this narrative we hear about Venezuela being a dictatorship. Because in fact, they have a huge private media system where they say things about the government that would never ever be allowed here. And even though, by the way, in 2002, the opposition-controlled media played a huge part in the coup that overthrew Chavez. They basically broadcast fake news. The opposition carried out some shootings, which they then blamed on the government, which was a part of a plan. It was a concerted plan. And the opposition broadcast this, and this was all planned out. And they used that to foment unrest, and the Bush administration picked up on that and used that to justify their backing of overthrowing Chavez. And it was propaganda, basically. And they were forced to admit later on, I believe even a CNN reporter said that before even the shootings had taken place that were blamed on the government, the opposition had already planned their speech, what they were going to say. And the opposition media was a huge part of that. And we don't hear about that, though, because it undercuts this narrative of Venezuela being a dictatorship, which is just not the case at all.
Yeah, they say if it's a dictatorship, if Maduro's a dictator, I say, what kind of dictatorships allow their opposition to give speeches in public squares without being arrested?
Huge rallies. I went to one where Juan Guaido, the guy who the U.S. has declared the president, he's declared himself the president. He's there speaking to a huge crowd. I didn't really see any police around. He's calling Maduro a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Everyone's chanting along. It's a great time. I mean, there are certainly internal issues in Venezuela. There's an economic crisis. You can say all sorts of criticisms of the Maduro government. They've made mistakes, but to call it a dictatorship is just propaganda, and it speaks to the contempt that these people have for Venezuelans who want to chart their own course, and that's why they're being attacked.
We're announcing our dates for 2019. We're going to Ventura Comedy Club, March 31st, Tempe, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Portland, Chicago, and lots more. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a list of all our dates and live shows. And please become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material. And please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you're subscribed, they unsubscribe people every day, and you might be one of them. Check to make sure you're subscribed, and then you have to click the bell twice so they send you a notification when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.